While covering SQL, we went through a simple employee management system where we can save employee data, employee containing gender, multiple skills, education, project, and address. All this already we have seen. Let us see the tables and master data creation. First one, gender sequence and gender table, two genders inside the table. Two genders you can treat as a master data, sequence to every gender, then table, then two insertions. Gender sequence, gender table, and two genders we are inserting. Gender related master table is ready with two master records. With two master records. In the same way, skills sequence, skills table, almost four master skills, creating a sequence for the skills, then creating a skill table and four sequences. Sorry, four skills. Very simple, developing master data for the skills. Developing master data for the skills. Skill sequence, creating a skill table and inserting four skills. Come to the next one. Education sequence, education table and five educations. Education sequence, education table and five educations total. It's also master data. Creating a sequence, creating a table, inserting five records. Let's go for project table, sequence, three projects into the project master table. Creating a sequence, creating a table, creating a sequence, creating a table. Then three projects we are inserting. City, HDFC and Axis. Sequence to project table, then project table itself, then inserting three records. This is about master tables. Now let's see transaction tables. Main transaction table is a employee. On employee table, address will be depending. Skills underscore employee also. Two child tables. First create a employee table. Employee sequence and employee table. Employee table containing three foreign keys, gender ID, latest education ID, project ID. All these queries, commands, the complete design already we have seen while going through SQL. While going through SQL itself, we have seen all these. I am just showing once again. Employee sequence created and employee table also created. Employee table, it's having three foreign keys, gender ID, latest education ID, project ID. Address table depending on employee table. It's a child to employee. It is having one foreign key which is referring to employee. Employee table ID. Try to run. Address table is ready. In the same way, employee underscore skills. Employee underscore skill. To achieve many-to-many relationship. To achieve many-to-many relationship. Employee underscore skill. Employee underscore skill. All these commands available in the SQL material itself. Whatever tables with their design, with the existing master data completely available in the SQL material itself. Same commands I have rerun. Already we have seen all these tables. Now here, no records in the employee table, no record in the address table, no record in the employee underscore skill. These three tables are transaction tables. We need to develop a Java program which can insert data into employee table, address table, employee underscore skill table. From a customer, take his data from a customer, take his data, store that data inside a employee table, address table, employee underscore skill table. The end user is not inserting master data. All available genders, all considerable skills, all considerable educations and projects already available in the database. End user has to select one from the available. End user has to select one from the available. Whenever employee inserting his record, he can enter his first name, his last name, what is his date of birth. He should not enter gender. He has to select one of the gender ID. Whatever Java program should do is, it should print, it should show all available genders. For every gender, whatever ID assigned, that ID should show. In our master table, one male, two female. Two genders are there. One is a male, two is a female. For the end user, you have to show both. If you are a male, then type 1. If you are a female, then type 2. He should not enter male or female. Assume you are allowing to enter gender to the end user. Some end users will be entering gender as a male. Some end users will be entering gender as a M. Some people female, some people will be F. Always master data you have to show. If this is you wanted to enter, then enter 1 or enter 2 or enter 3. Already all genders available. For every gender we provided a unique ID. You have to show to the end user. For your gender, this is the unique ID. You have to enter that unique ID. One more thing, in the employee table, gender ID is a foreign key. Whatever gender IDs are there in the gender table, that only will be allowed. In the employee table, gender ID is a foreign key. It will not be allowing 3 or 4 or 5. Why? Because 3 is not there as an ID in the gender table. 4 is not there as an ID in the gender table. So if you wanted, you can read all the genders. Totally 2 genders are there. Both are existing master data. For a male, we are assigning ID as a 1. For a female, we are assigning ID as a 2. Whenever end user is trying to enter his gender, you have to show these 2 are the available genders. Enter 1 if you are a male. Enter 2 if you are a female. This is very important. Master data, end user should not enter. He has to select one of the available. He has to select one of the available. Let us consider educations. Totally 5 educations are there. While you are asking, please enter your latest education. You have to show all 5 available educations. He has to select any one among these projects. He can enter 1 if he is a BTech. He can enter 3 if he is a MCA. Whatever master data available, that master data you have to show to the end user. These are the different educations available. You have to select one. You should not type. Assume you are allowing him to type. Some people will be typing BTech. Some people will be typing BE. Both are one and the same. There will be little ambiguity. Some people will be typing MCA without dots. Some people will be typing with the dots. To avoid all confusions, show the master data whatever available in the database. He has to select one. In case of web applications, all drop downs, you might be knowing drop down. Select. All drop downs are from master data. Selecting one from the available. So here in core Java, we cannot develop a drop down. We will be showing these are the educations available. If your education is a BCA, type 5. If your education is a MBA, type 4. So here, latest education ID is a foreign key. It should have a value. Whatever available under ID column of the education. So please observe in the employee table, three foreign keys are there: gender ID, referring to gender table ID column, latest education ID, ID of the education, then project ID, ID of the project, project underscore ID, ID of the project, ID of the project, project underscore ID, references, in the same way, even projects also. There are 3 projects available in the master table. If employee is falling under city project, he has to enter 1. If employee falling under HDFC, this is very important, very important. Master data you have to show to the employee, you have to show to the end user. He has to select 1. Now check it out once again, the complete employee table. He can type first name, last name, date of birth, gender ID he cannot. He has to choose one among available. Gender ID is a foreign key. He cannot type 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 which is not available. He can type 1 or 2. Only 2 genders available in the gender table. Latest education ID. Only 5 are available. Joining date. He can type the joining date. Project ID. He should not type the project ID. First he has to see what are the available projects. He has to select any one. If his project is a city, then he has to type 1. Then username, he can choose any. He can enter any data. Password also, any data. So whenever user is trying to enter employee data, you have to show relevant master data. He has to select one from the relevant master data. Please observe, this point is very important. Very, very important. I'll develop a code right from the beginning. You don't require to know down. You will be getting the material. Everybody, please observe each and every step. We'll use the Eclipse itself. Java project app 3. First and foremost one, we need to update build path with Oracle driver Java. While interacting with the database, you should require a driver. That driver is containing in one jar file. That jar file should be available to the Eclipse. Eclipse will not be using class path. For all external jar files, you have to update build path. For all external jar files, you have to update build path. For every external jar file, you have to update build path. Right click on app 3 to update the build path. To update the build path, right click, properties, Java build path, libraries, Java build path, libraries, add external jars. Select OJDBC 5 from the Oracle installation. Select OJDBC 5. OJDBC 5 from the Oracle installation. Open. Click OK. This is the first step. The second step is developing a util. Developing a util. We know very well about development of the util. Yes or no? No idea? Util class required some constants, driver class, URL, username and password. Util class required driver class, URL, username and password. In case of Eclipse, whatever file you are developing for Java program, that file should be developed inside an application tree, that is inside a project itself, not in the classes folder. Earlier we were developing all the files, properties files in the classes folder. While using Eclipse, develop the file in the project itself. Develop the file in the project itself. Right click on your project, go to new, select the file. For DB constants purpose, whatever file we were developing in the classes folder, same file inside a project, select the file, give a name, whatever name you wanted, constants.properties, db constants.properties, any file name. I'm choosing constants.properties. This already we know very well. 4 lines. Driver class, URL, username and password. The location is changed. You have to develop inside a application name, not inside a classes folder. Now, in the SRC folder, com.lara.dbutil is a package. com.lara.dbutil is a package. Inside that, I am developing dbutil. dbutil class I am developing in a separate package com.lara.db.dbutil. You can go through, it's very simple, very similar to earlier development. No new things are there here. dbutil class, static and final, 4 attributes, reading from the properties file. After reading from the properties file, all 4 are loading into properties object. All 4 are loading into properties object. Then reading from the properties object, registering a driver as usual. Then establishing a connection object. Get connection, close all the resources. This type of utils several times we have seen. Only the changes. The location of the constants.properties file. The location is inside a project, not in the classes folder. Location is inside a project. Right click on your project, go to new, go to file, choose the file name, then enter the file content. So in the dbutil, get connection method, close all resources. Close all resources. Closing result set, statement and connection. Then we have 4 master tables: gender, education, skills and project. We have 4 master tables. Yes or no? To carry the master data, to the client program, you have to show the master data to the client. You have to show the master data to the client. To carry the master data, always advisable to have a bean classes, gender table, 2 columns, ID and name. Develop a gender being with two attributes, ID and name. So inside a calm.lara.entity package, calm.lara.entity, I'm just choosing a package called entity. Develop the bean classes. Some people are calling like a entity classes. Why? Because these classes are used for transferring data from the table. Transferring data from the table. You can see the gender.java. Develop a gender class with two attributes, ID and name. ID and name. Their corresponding setters and getters. To set ID, set ID. To set the name, set name. To read the ID, hit ID. To read the name, get name. There is a easiest way to develop a setter and getter in Eclipse. Let me show that easiest way. After developing two attributes, right click anyway. Right click, go to source, right click, go to source, then generate getters and setters. Whatever attributes are there in your entity class, for all those attributes, it will be generating setters and getters. Select all, click OK. Whatever attributes are there, for every attribute, it is generating setter ID, setters and getters. For every master table, develop one entity class to transfer the data. What I will do is, I will create one gender object. Gender ID 1, I am setting to the ID. Gender ID male, gender name male, I will be setting to the name. One more gender object I will be creating for female. Gender ID 2, I will be setting to the ID. Gender name female, I will be setting to the name. Two records, two gender objects. In order to transfer master data, try to develop either bean or entity. Both are one and the same. Entity class or bean class. Similar to that, project, split out. Two columns are there in the project table, ID and name. Two attributes, their setters and getters. Very similar to that, education. ID and name, their setters and getters. ID and name and their setters and getters. You can see the skill, ID and name. Four master tables we have seen. In every table, two columns are there. In every table, two columns. For every table, we developed entity class. With ID. We developed entity class with ID and name. Setters and getters. Now, you can read the data from the table, store the data in the entity objects, store that objects inside a array or array list, send the data to the client program. Client program will be reading, showing to the end user, End user can select one. Got it up. Master tables we have seen. To carry the data from master tables, we developed entity classes. Now let us see how we can use entity classes to transfer the data from the database. Under DAO package, I am developing gender DAO. Not required to note down anything. DAO stands for Data Access Object. The complete database code advisable to keep in a separate class. You can treat that class as a DAO class. For one table, develop one DAO class. For that table, whatever database interaction is there, that database interaction you can keep inside the DAO class. Gender DAO, gender DAO. While interacting with the gender table, for any database operations, you can develop in the gender DAO. So I am trying to develop a read all genders method. It is a static method. Return type is list of gender. List is a part of the collection. You don't require to know more about the list. You can use straight away adding elements and reading elements. You can treat this as a container. It will be allowing only gender objects now. It will be allowing only gender objects. So create array list object. Create array list object. Which can be used to store gender objects. We know very well about getting a connection. Are you finding any difficulty on connection? Nothing is there. Calling DB utils get connection. Get the statement object. Get the result set. From where we are getting a result set? Come on. From a gender table. From a gender table. Now, iterate the result set. For every iteration, define a new gender object. Define a new gender object. Read the data from ID column. Supply same ID to the gender object through setID method. Read the name column from the result set. Supply the same name to the setName method in the gender object. Then store the gender inside a array list. For every row, what we are doing? Please observe. For every row, what we are doing? Define a new gender object. Read the data from ID column. Set the same value inside a gender object through setID method. Read the name column. Set the value to the setName method. Then add gender. Add gender. Genders dot add of gender. In the second iteration, again new gender object creating. In that gender object also setting ID and name. That gender object also setting inside a array list. Please observe, genders is an array list where you can store. Genders is an array list where we can store any number of gender objects. Any number of gender objects. For every iteration, define one gender, read the data from result set, store the same data in the gender object, store that gender object in the array list. Store that gender object inside the array list. So here two gender records are there. 2 times while loop is iterating. 2 gender objects are creating. Both are storing in the array list. Reading column values. Setting in the gender object. Only 2 genders. While loop is iterating 2 times. First time creating a new gender. Reading male information. ID 1. Setting ID 1. Name male. Setting a male. Afterwards, storing the gender object in the genders. Genders is an array list. Gender object is storing in the genders. One iteration got over. Another iteration for female record. New gender object creating. Please observe. New gender object creating. In that new gender object, we are setting female ID 2, female name, female. Then storing that new gender in the genders. New gender in the genders. Genders is an array list which we will be returning. The catch and finally we know. Finally what we are returning. Return genders. It is an array list. With respect to gender table, whatever database interactions we are performing, all we will be doing in the gender DAO. Only one database operation is required, that is reading all the genders to show to the end user. Sorry. In the same way, for every master table, we developed one DAO. Check it out. Education DAO. Read all educations. Education DAO. Read all educations. Read all educations. Connection statement and result set. Very similar to earlier. Result set. From where we are getting a result set? From where we are getting a result set? For every iteration, define a new education object. For every education, define a new education object. Set the ID, set the name, store the education in the array list. For every iteration, a new education object is developing, reading the data from the result set, storing the same data in the education object. Storing the same data in the education object. How many educations are there? 5 educations are there. While you will be iterating 5 times. Every time one education object. In the educations array list, 5 education objects are there. Every education object is having ID and name. ID and name. Finally, block is as usual. In the same way, project and skills also. Project DAO, project table, already entity classes are there. Use the entity classes. Project and skills, project table, read all projects, list of projects, array list we are using, projects. Define the result set. Declare the project, define the project, set ID, set name, and add the project. Adding a project, ID, comma, name from project. In the same way, go to the skills table, skills DAO. All these DAOs are almost one and the same, only table name is changed. So once again, at least for one table, let us analyze. Just to go through skill table. Skill table containing 2 columns, ID and name. How many skills are there? Master skills. 4 or 5? 4 skills are there. Check it out. 4 or 5? C, C++, Java, Oracle. 4 skills are there. Skill table, how many columns are there? Come on. How many columns? 2 columns are there. Now go to the skill.java. Entity class skill.java. Everybody. Go through skill.java. Are you finding? Nowhere you are finding. Huh? किधर से? Not available? Page number 9. Check it out, page number 2. Skill class is there or not? Oh, congratulations. ID name, corresponding setter and getter. ID name, corresponding setter and getter. Skill table. Now observe skill DAO. Go through skill DAO. What is there in the skill DAO? Please go through, read all skills. Go through, read all skills. Got it? So very simple. Every master table containing 2 columns. For every master table we developed one entity class. For every master table we developed one DAO class. To read all the master tables. Sir, no. Now we are ready to develop the client program. Go to the employee manager. It's available or not? No idea. Come on. So after seeing, you will be very happy, no? No matter whether you understood or not. If that is available in the material, that is sufficient. Defining a scanner object, giving 2 options to the end user. One for inserting employee, 2 for searching an employee. One for inserting an employee, 2 for searching an employee. So 2 operations we are trying to perform here. One is insert, 2 is search. Search we will consider later. First let us see insert. If action is equal to 1, if action is equal to 1, insert. Let's see insert. I want to insert one record into the employee table. I want to insert one record into the employee table. So we need to observe even address and employee. Please observe address class and employee class. In the page number 2, you can see address and employee. available, very happy. Address class, employee class. I'm setting address inside employee. This is like a defining an object where we can store data. Whatever first name, last name, username, password, gender ID, skill ID, all we have to set to employee. All we have to set to employee object. Please go through everybody, address and employee. Please go through address and employee, address class attributes, employee class attributes, inside employee class, gender ID int is there. Are you finding the employee class? Int gender ID, int project ID. Yes or no? No idea. Int education ID, gender ID integer, project ID integer, project ID, no idea, gender ID, skill ID, it's int array. One employee can have multiple skills. Yes or no? One employee can have multiple skills. One employee can have multiple skills. Inside a employee table, first name, last name, username, password, all these are the strings. First name, last name. You want me to open heroes of the day? First name, last name, date of birth, date of join, username, password. These are the strings. Gender ID integer, education ID integer, project ID integer, skill IDs. Why? Because same employee can have multiple educations. Skills or skill IDs. Multiple skills, multiple skill IDs. Got it? First name, last name, date of birth, gender ID, education ID, project ID. Now, come to the employee manager. I'll explain only one gender section. Remaining sections you have to understand. Gender selection. Check it out. Any heroes are there who can understand without explanation? Please go through this completely. Gender selection. Gender selection. Anybody understood? Understood. Hero of the day. Gender DAO dot read all genders. Already we observed read all genders. It is returning list of genders. All gender objects are available. All gender objects are available inside a list. Then iterating all the gender objects, printing every gender ID and name. Iterating all the genders, printing ID and name. What is the message we are giving? Enter one for male. Enter 2 for female. Yes or no? 2 iterations will be happening. Enter 1 for male. Enter 2 for female. Enter 1 for male. Enter 2 for female. So user having only 2 options here. The clear message, if you are a male, enter 1. If you are a female, enter 2. Nobody will enter 3 or 4 or 5 here. Our program is giving a proper guidance to the end user. 2 available genders, 1 you have to enter if your gender is a male. Whatever he is entering, that we are assigning to. Come on. We are assigning to? No idea. We are setting to gender ID of the employee object. Gender ID of the employee object. Show the available genders and their corresponding IDs. Ask to user, enter any one ID from available. Whatever ID is entering, same ID we are setting to gender ID of the employee table. Is there no? Come on. Very simple. Almost like a mathematical. Now try to observe education section. Same. Go through statement by statement. Check it out whether you can able to understand or not. Mahesh, just education DAO, read all educations, enter education ID for education name. Enter 1 for BTech, 2 for MTech, 3 for MCA, 4 for MBA, 5 for BCA, 6 for 10th standard. So whatever available educations are there, all those educations we are showing one by one, along with the ID, along with the corresponding education ID, along with the corresponding education ID. Got it? No idea at all. So then end user is entering 1. Same is setting to the education ID of the employee. Then what about project section? Divided. Projects section. Every project reading into array list. Every project reading into array list. Every project we have for. Enter 1 for city. Enter 2 for HDFC. Enter 3 for Axis. 3 projects. So whatever user is entering, same we are setting to project ID. These 3 are very simple. Why? Because user is selecting only one, we are setting only one. One gender ID only user has to select. No gender will be having multiple gender IDs. Sir, no. So only one gender ID. One latest education ID, one current project. Next one, skills selection. Let's see how many people can able to understand. Sharpen your brain. Go through by yourself. It's a little difficult. Skills section is a little difficult. You have to go through by yourself. Let us see. Any heroes or Understood? How many people understood? Please raise your hands. Oh, most of the people. They're not required to explain. Yes or no? Not required to explain? So please observe here. We are getting list of skills. Iterating and showing. Enter 1 for C. Enter 2 for CPP. Enter 3 for Java. Enter 4 for Oracle. So we are giving a message like you can select any number of skill IDs by comma as a delimiter. Showing all the skills, you can select any number of skill IDs by using comma as a separator. So here, comma as a separator, I'm entering. Assume I'm entering 1 comma 3 comma 4. 1 comma 3 comma 4. Then by using comma as a separator, I'm splitting. I'm getting an array which contains 1, 3, 4. But this array is a string array. Please observe. We are getting an array. If user is entering 1, 3, 4, then you are getting one array. It contains 1, 3, 4 in the form of a string array. Split method by comma as a separator, by comma as a separator. It is splitting and giving a string array. Converting string array into int array. Inside a employee object, skill IDs is a int array. Converting string array to int array. Define one int array with the same size. Defining one int array with the same size. Then run the for loop. Convert every string object into integer object by using integer.parseInt method. Integer.parseInt. Wrapper classes got over or not? Very long back. Convert a string into integer. Store that integer value inside an integer array. Inside a string array, 3 string objects are there. Converting those 3 string objects. Converting those 3 string objects into integer objects. Storing inside an int array. Now we have a data in the int array. Set that int array to the employee object. Set the int array to employee object. Then remaining is simple. Setting master data only difficult. Asking to the user to enter date of birth in a specific format. Enter date of birth in a specific format. Enter date of join in a specific format. Enter first name, last name, house number, street name, city, state, username, password. Got it? After storing employee object, after receiving employee object, after getting a data into the employee object, try to save this employee object data into the database. Employee DAO dot insert employee by supplying EMP. Employee DAO dot insert employee by supplying an employee object. Now data is available in the employee object. Read the data from the employee object, compose insert SQL query and store in the database. Compose insert SQL query and store in the database. So it's little difficult to understand. Insert into employee column. So you can just develop till to this. How we can store employee data in the database. That portion I'll show you later. What you can do is, you can comment this. You can develop a SOPs to read employee data. You can go for emp dot get first name. Read whatever data you read. Whatever data you read from the console, same data you can print. Likewise, you can call all getter methods. You can print it. Once this is done, tomorrow I'll explain how employee data can store in the database. In the database, employee data should store in 3 different tables. employee table, address table, and intermediate employee underscore skills. Insert employee, that function you will be knowing in the next class. What you can do is start